Nicole Murphy, you're disgusting. You sat on that couch and you laughed. It ain't no moment. It's a mess. You wrong for that. You the type of women that let these men be evil. They gotta have some help, and women like you are that type of help.
You alleged too that Nicole Murphy had relations with your ex-husband. Were you two friends?
Mm-hmm. Birthday parties. I've been to her house. She was at my bachelorette party. But you know what? At that time, my mother told me then. She said, but you got to watch that one there. And I was like, who? I said, the one dancing. She said, yes, that's Eddie Murphy's wife. She said, you got to watch that one.
Current wife at the time or ex at the time?
I want to say, I think she was still married. They were still married. And I was like, no, And so, when your mom tell you something about new school, you feel like you old school, And she was right.
True, absolutely true.
So what happened exactly?
Just what you said. She messed around with my husband. Here's the thing. We've all done something that we regret. We've all made mistakes and we all have to learn from that. But when you start doing it and being messy enough to do it amongst family, how does a family kiss turn into a I'm sorry apology? Like, what do you mean? You didn't know that she was married? We all know that she was married. And That was 20 years. That's history. You don't do that amongst friends.
Right.
Because there's no loyalty.
Right.
There's no loyalty. And you got to look up and your person that you invited to your house and you celebrating your birthdays and going to games with, you got to look up and they're in Italy with your husband.
Right.
The thing, Lila and Nicole have reportedly been close friends for years, and they travel in the same circle.
And my thing is this, plus, you're not talking about it all the time. That's that friendship stuff.
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
Well, the whole internet's on fire about it. Even your sister, the brat, LisaRaye McCoy, jumped in social media and said, girl, Nikki Murphy, you went after Lila Rashawn's husband too? Shaking my head so wrong again.
Ooh, wait, hold on.
So what's the fine print of the tea? Like, did she go after LisaRaye's husband when she was married to
Absolutely. When my sister was the first lady of Turks and Caicos, absolutely.
What?
You ever notice how some grudges age like fine wine, except the bitterness just gets stronger? Well, baby LisaRaye McCoy has proven that when it comes to Nicole Murphy, time does not heal all wounds. Decades after accusing Nicole of being a homewrecker who crossed the ultimate line, sleeping with her husband, LisaRaye is still talking, still venting, still reopening that same wound. And fans are split. Is she standing on principle or stuck in the past? Because while Lisa keeps pointing fingers, some people are starting to whisper that she might need to check her own glass house first. So let's rewind the clock, dig into the betrayal that destroyed their friendship, and figure out why LisaRaye just can't seem to let Nicole Murphy go. Phew, baby, LisaRaye McCoy is at it again. Just when you think she's finally let go of the Nicole Murphy drama, she pops right back up with a fresh comment, a new jab, or a sly little reminder that she still hasn't forgiven the woman she once called a friend. It's been what? Over a decade since the alleged affair between Nicole and LisaRaye's ex-husband, Michael Misick. And yet here we are, still sipping the same tea that's been reheated more times than leftover gumbo. Every few months, LisaRaye finds a way to bring Nicole's name into a conversation like it's part of her daily affirmation. Whether she's on a podcast, a red carpet, or doing an interview that had nothing to do with the past, she'll slide in a reference about homewreckers or fake friends, and everyone instantly knows who she's talking about. Now, some fans say she's just standing on principle, that she's a woman who was betrayed, disrespected, and never got the apology she deserved. But others? They're starting to side-eye hard, wondering if this is less about justice and more about jealousy. Because at this point, LisaRaye isn't just revisiting old wounds. She's practically hosting a reunion tour for them. And don't get me wrong, betrayal cuts deep, especially when it's someone you broke bread with. But when the pain starts aging like expired milk instead of fine wine, it might be time to pour it out. So what's really going on here? Is LisaRaye simply refusing to let a snake slither away without accountability? Or is she the one trapped in her own bitterness, reliving the same heartbreak for the cameras? One thing's for sure. When it comes to this feud, forgiveness is nowhere on the guest list. And baby, the shade only gets darker with time. Let's rewind the clock, because to really understand LisaRaye's bitterness, you've got to go back to where it all began. The scandal that flipped her world upside down. Back in the mid-2000s, LisaRaye was living what many thought was a fairy tale. She wasn't just the woman from Players Club anymore. She was the first lady of Turks and Caicos, married to then Prime Minister Michael Misick, living in tropical luxury with a title, a mansion, and the spotlight. But behind the glamorous photo ops and magazine spreads, whispers started circulating. Whispers that her close friend, Nicole Murphy, was getting a little too comfortable with her husband. At first, LisaRaye brushed it off. Nicole was part of her circle, another Hollywood beauty who knew the game. They attended the same parties, shared laughs, and even celebrated milestones together. But that friendship took a hard left when LisaRaye checked the flight manifest for her private jet. Yes, her private jet, and saw Nicole's name on the list for a trip to Turks and Caicos. The problem? LisaRaye hadn't invited her. She was stunned. Why would Nicole, of all people, be flying out to her island with her husband without saying a word? According to LisaRaye, that was the moment everything clicked. This wasn't just gossip. It was betrayal in motion. She tried to call Nicole to clear things up, but the calls went unanswered. Radio silence. Then, when LisaRaye finally got wind that Nicole had made that trip, she was done playing nice. So, when she later spotted Nicole out in public, smiling and waving like nothing ever happened, LisaRaye snapped. She famously turned to her and said, "Did you try to beckon me over here? Because here I am." It wasn't just a clap back. It was a declaration. The friendship was dead, and the streets of Hollywood were about to feel the aftershock. And oh, did the fallout come fast. Once word got out that LisaRaye's ex-husband had allegedly been having an affair with Nicole Murphy, the story caught fire. For years, it floated around in whispers and tabloid blind items. But things truly reignited in 2019 when TMZ caught up with LisaRaye and asked her point blank about the rumors. She didn't dodge, deflect, or sugarcoat. She looked right into the camera and said yes. It was true. Nicole Murphy did mess around with her husband. But for LisaRaye, it wasn't even about the cheating. It was about the disrespect. "You don't do that to family," she said, emphasizing how the betrayal hit different because Nicole wasn't some random stranger. She was a friend. And as if that wasn't enough to shake up the gossip world, just months later, Nicole was caught in another messy situation, this time with married film director Antoine Fuqua. The paparazzi photos were explosive. The two caught on camera in Italy, kissing not once, but multiple times while Antoine's wife, actress Lella Rashawn, was back home. The internet went into full meltdown mode. Nicole tried to downplay the situation, claiming she and Antoine were just family friends, but nobody was buying it. The images told a different story. Then came the infamous Wendy Williams show moment, the kind of television that lives in gossip history. Nicole sat across from Wendy, cool and collected at first, trying to defend herself, until Wendy pulled out what she called Exhibit A and Exhibit B, the crystal clear photos of Nicole and Antoine locking lips. Nicole's smile froze, the studio audience gasped, and Wendy just sat there like the prosecutor of pop culture she is. Nicole insisted she didn't break up anyone's marriage, and even claimed that LisaRaye's husband had released a statement denying any affair. But the damage was already done. The moment went viral. Twitter was in chaos. Some people were calling Nicole the serial homewrecker of Hollywood, while others thought LisaRaye was milking an old wound for relevance. Team Lisa argued she was justified. She'd been betrayed by a friend and deserved her say. Team Nicole claimed it was all exaggerated, a misunderstanding turned media circus. But whichever side people chose, one thing was clear: this drama had legs. Every clip, every soundbite, every photo breathed new life into a feud that just wouldn't die. And while Nicole tried to move on, LisaRaye's words kept echoing through interviews and headlines. For her, this wasn't just about a cheating husband. It was about a broken sisterhood, a public humiliation, and a betrayal that cut too deep to ever forget. When the Antoine Fuqua scandal hit the internet in 2019, it was like deja vu in high definition. The photos of Nicole Murphy kissing a married man in Italy weren't just gossip gold. They reignited one of Hollywood's longest-running grudges. LisaRaye didn't hesitate for a second. The moment those pictures dropped, she jumped right back into the spotlight, doubling down on what she'd been saying for years. Nicole had a pattern, and the Antoine situation was proof. She reminded everyone that this wasn't new behavior. It was just finally being caught on camera. And with a mix of vindication and exhaustion in her tone, LisaRaye basically said, "See, y'all didn't believe me before, but now you see what I was talking about." Nicole, of course, tried to clean it up. She claimed she and Antoine were just family friends, that the kiss was a friendly greeting, and that the media blew it out of proportion. But the more she talked, the worse it got. Then came her infamous Wendy Williams interview, where she tried to rewrite the narrative with that now notorious line, "I never broke up anyone's marriage." It sounded rehearsed, controlled, but also a little too careful. And LisaRaye caught that immediately. To her, that phrasing wasn't denial, it was deflection. She went on record saying, "See, that's that play on words she likes to do. I never said she broke up my marriage. I said she slept with my husband." LisaRaye called it shade wrapped in semantics. And for her, that was the final straw. She took that as Nicole calling her a liar on national television. And baby, LisaRaye does not let anyone play in her face like that. And when LisaRaye gets in her feelings, she doesn't just clap back. She tells a story. Fast forward to her interview on Carlos King's Reality with the King podcast, and she laid it all out like it was a therapy session mixed with a tell-all. She revealed that even before the scandal, her mother had warned her about Nicole. According to LisaRaye, during her bachelorette party, her mom leaned over and said, "You've got to watch that one there," pointing directly at Nicole, who was on the dance floor having the time of her life. Lisa admitted she brushed it off, thinking her mom was just being old school and overprotective. But years later, she realized Mama had seen something she hadn't. Then came the receipts, the private plane manifest that exposed it all. LisaRaye described how she discovered Nicole's name listed among the passengers flying to Turks and Caicos, even though she hadn't invited her. That's when she felt the sting of betrayal turn into rage. She said she called Nicole repeatedly to ask what was going on, but Nicole ignored her. Then, when LisaRaye finally confronted her and Nicole denied everything, she went digging and found video footage of Nicole and her husband arriving together at the airstrip. That was the breaking point. She told Carlos King, "Where I come from, the south side of Chicago, that's an ass whooping." That's what that is. It wasn't just gossip anymore. It was deeply personal. LisaRaye painted herself as a woman who tried to play it classy, but had been pushed too far. She said her ex-husband eventually came clean, admitting that he and Nicole had been intimate 2 or 3 times, confirming what she already knew in her gut. For LisaRaye, that confession was bittersweet. It gave her validation, but it also reopened wounds she'd tried to close for years. And yet, every time Nicole popped up on a red carpet or talk show acting unbothered, it seemed to reignite that fury all over again. But here's where the story gets messy, because while LisaRaye loves to talk about loyalty and betrayal, some fans say her own track record isn't exactly squeaky clean. Word on the street is she's been accused of having her own share of entanglements, like the rumors of a fling with NBA star Gary Payton while he was married. LisaRaye denied it, of course, calling Gary just a friend, but the whispers didn't stop. People started connecting the dots and calling out the irony. How could she condemn Nicole for crossing boundaries when her own history had some blurred lines too? It's the kind of contradiction that keeps social media split right down the middle. On one hand, LisaRaye has every right to feel hurt. Betrayal by a friend cuts deep. But on the other, her ongoing crusade against Nicole feels less like closure and more like obsession. Fans have pointed out that Lisa's anger might not even be about Nicole anymore. It might be about everything she lost: the husband, the title, the image of being the first lady. When all of that crumbled, maybe Nicole became the face of her downfall. So now, every time LisaRaye brings up the past, people are left wondering, is she fighting for her truth or just fighting not to be forgotten? Because when the pain lingers this long, it's no longer just about who slept with who. It's about pride, ego, and the desperate need to control a story that's long since slipped away. And while Nicole Murphy may have the reputation, it's starting to look like LisaRaye might have the grudge. At this point, it's almost tradition. LisaRaye steps into a new interview. The host asks a question about sisterhood, loyalty, or Hollywood friendships. And somehow Nicole Murphy's name finds its way into the conversation like a bad penny that just won't disappear. Whether it's the Cocktails with Queens panel, Carlos King's podcast, or a red carpet soundbite, she can't resist throwing in that infamous side eye and saying something like, "Some women you just can't trust around your man." And boom, everyone knows who she's talking about. The audience groans, Twitter lights up, and the same conversation plays out again like reruns on BET. Fans have started to notice the pattern. Every time LisaRaye brings it up, the comment sections fill with a mix of support and exhaustion. One person will say, "Stand on your truth, sis," and another will clap back with, "Girl, are we doing this again?" It's become a cultural cycle. LisaRaye talks, Nicole stays silent, and the internet debates whether this is empowerment or obsession. Some fans joke that the tea's gone so cold it's turned into iced coffee, but Lisa keeps reheating it like she's got a lifetime supply of emotional microwave minutes. And as much as people roll their eyes, they still tune in, because LisaRaye doesn't just talk about pain, she performs it. The voice cracks, the long pauses, the glances to the camera. It's part confession, part monologue, part therapy session that never really ends. But beneath the shade and the headlines, there's something undeniably human about it all. Because when you strip away the fame, the ego, and the Instagram filters, what's left is a woman who was betrayed not just by a husband, but by a friend. Someone she trusted, laughed with, brought into her circle. That kind of pain doesn't just vanish with time. It lingers in the quiet moments, in the questions that never got answered. Maybe LisaRaye keeps talking about it, because that's how she survives it. Maybe every interview is another attempt to make sense of why it happened, or to finally get an apology she knows is never coming. At its core, this isn't just about men or marriage. It's about sisterhood, loyalty, and the heartbreak that comes when another woman breaks that unspoken bond. And maybe that's why it still hits a nerve, even after all these years. Because who hasn't replayed their own betrayal, wondering how someone you called a friend could turn around and wound you that deeply? So as we close this chapter, at least until LisaRaye opens it again, the question isn't really why she keeps bringing it up. The real question is LisaRaye keeping the feud alive, or is the pain keeping her alive? What do you think? If a friend crossed that line with your partner, could you ever truly forgive them? Or would you still be dragging them decades later, just like LisaRaye?